For so long, I found it very difficult being alone. Being with myself and my own thoughts sounded horrible, and every time I felt my brain wander to things I didn't want to think about. This became harder as I started getting older because I started to depend on other people for my personal happiness. This habit became unhealthy, and eventually I couldn't even spend an hour alone. I know I'm not the only one who thinks this either. What do you do alone? You ask any person our age and they'll respond with the same thing. Endless scrolling through social media, searching for a small dose of dopamine until it disappears with the next scroll. I mean, what else is there to do? We use social media as a coping mechanism and a way to escape without feeling lonely. You're seeing all your friends through a screen. I'd think, that looks so fun, I wish I'd been there, after your friend posts a picture of a party that you weren't invited to. Or, wow, she's so pretty, I wish I looked like her. The dopamine doesn't last long before you realize the toxicity of it, and after you feel more alone than you did before. In school they ask, can money buy you happiness? And what makes you happy? A typical answer to things like this are friends, significant others, and people. And yes, money can buy you happiness, but is it like social media, where your feelings fade after so long? I know all this sounds depressing, but I promise you it's not. I was always scared of ending up alone and having to think about all of this, and because I was always with people, I eventually started losing motivation to do the things that I once loved doing alone. Reflecting back on it now, I could have prevented all of this from happening, with a happy balance with alone time and social life, but it's definitely easier said than done. You start to lose yourself after putting your all into relationships and friendships, and with school and work in the mix, it becomes exhausting, not only for you, but the people you choose to surround yourself with. Last year, I wanted so badly to become a better person, so I started working on making others happier and trying my best to fit the mold. I hated when people would talk about me and say hurtful things. I thought if I did everything I could to be better, they would stop and wouldn't have anything to say. But I was wrong. I was thinking about it, and I wasn't doing it to better myself, but I was doing it for others in fear of being lonely. If I could take back all the time I spent thinking of others' opinions on me, I could have built the city. People are going to talk about you no matter what. It doesn't matter how pretty or nice or wealthy you are, it's a part of life. And it takes people a very long time to fully realize it. I'm not saying being around people is a bad thing either, however, because yes, friends are so important to have in your life. And surrounding yourself with positive people definitely helps you with being happy. But sometimes we take for granted the most important aspects of life solely because it becomes a part of the daily schedule. I wish I could take back all the time I spent thinking about what I was going to do next, instead of living in the moment. Sometimes things didn't feel the way I'd pictured it in my head, and it made those amazing moments become disappointing and bland. I knew it needed to change, but I was discouraged because everything I tried wasn't working. This made my friendships more and more difficult because I started becoming dependent on them for fixing the feeling going on inside my own brain. I never had the chance to realize that the one thing I was missing was myself. I didn't know who I was anymore, and I didn't feel like me. We all try so hard for everyone else besides ourselves. And when you start to understand that you are the only person who can change your thoughts and fix the hurt, things start looking up. In the past month especially, with everything going on in the world, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do it. Doing it alone sounded impossible. Though my brain made up thousands of scenarios of things that could go wrong, I pushed through and decided to start working on myself, for myself. I needed some sort of relief, and then it hit me. I am what controls my emotions, and if I work on it, I can be as happy as I want. I started doing the things I loved again, and working on some goals that I let slide away. The concept of being alone might sound scary to people because I know it did for me. But realizing life's beauty and the amazing life that you live can be very humbling. I don't need to be surrounded all the time to be content, because for the first time in my life, I'm content with my inner thoughts, and I am genuinely proud of the human I am becoming. I stopped limiting myself on things and just let myself breathe. I learned that other people's opinions on me is none of my business, and it doesn't hurt me anymore because at the end of the day, I still have me. It takes work, it really does, but before you can try, you have to put yourself first, before anybody else. I learned that I love myself more than anyone ever could, And if we all train our minds to think in this way, I think our outside relationships will work a lot better. I started to become an ally for myself instead of a threat, and it made me feel a lot more comfortable and confident with my own thoughts. And when I started to think of bad things, I found it very easy to change my perspective. And now I'm here, writing about my experiences over the past year to finally figure out who I am and my happiness within. While I might be alone a lot more than usual, I'm not lonely because I have me. And that is the most fulfilling thing that I have ever experienced.